Hello, a very good evening. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Mega News 6 live in direct from our studios on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate. The news is also live across all our social media handles on MBN 360. But first, the headlines. President Mahama challenged global financial systems, demand fairer debt reforms for Africa. In business, cedi under pressure in June as dollar sells at 12 Ghana cedis 30 pesos at forex bureaus. On the international front, Israel and Lebanon agree to implement ceasefire if Hezbollah stops attack. There's many more stories coming up in the next 30 minutes from our studios on the 10th Avenue Extension. My name is El Samuels. To start with, the President John Dramani Mahama has called for urgent reforms to the global financial systems, arguing that African countries continue to face unfair borrowing conditions and debt burdens that undermines development efforts across the continent. President John Dramani Mahama has renewed calls for a more equitable global finance architecture, urging international communities to implement meaningful debt reforms that reflect realities facing African economies. Speaking at the International Forum, President Mahama noted that many African nations are grappling with rising debt obligations, high borrowing costs, and limited access to affordable financing despite contributing little to global economic and environmental crisis. He urged that the current financial systems disadvantages developing countries, making it difficult for them to invest in critical sectors such as infrastructure, healthcare, education, and climate resilience. According to the president, debt restructuring mechanisms must be made faster, more transparent, and more responsive to the needs of vulnerable economies. He emphasized that sustainable development cannot be achieved if countries are forced to devote a significant share of their resources to debt servicing. President Mahama also called for a greater representation of African voices in global financial decision-making, stressing that reforms must ensure fairness, inclusivity, and equal opportunities for growth. President remarks comes amidst growing international discussions on debt sustainability, development financing, and the need to reshape global institutions to better support emerging and developing economies.
The current international financial architecture remains unequal and outdated. African countries continue to face disproportionately high borrowing costs despite carrying some of the world's greatest growth potential. Climate financing commitments made to developing nations have remained largely unmet. Technology and innovative ecosystems remain heavily concentrated in the advanced economies. Trade barriers still disadvantage African producers seeking access to global markets. This must change. True partnership requires trade that rewards value addition. Africa must no longer be seen as an exporter of raw materials only to import finished products at significantly higher cost. Debt reform that supports development is needed. Debt restructuring mechanisms must become faster, fairer, and more inclusive. Climate finance must be delivered. Africa contributes the least to global emissions and yet bears a disproportionate burden of the effects of climate change.
Still with the presidency, the chief of staff at the presidency has called on African nations to take full control of their development agenda, stressing that the continent must define its own destiny through unity, strong institutions, and self-reliant economic policies. The Chief of Staff at the Presidency has urged African leaders to chart independent and unified paths towards development, emphasizing the continent can no longer rely heavily on external direction in shaping its future. Speaking at a high-level forum, he said Africa must strengthen its institutions, deepen regional integration and cooperation, invest in homegrown solutions that reflect the continent's unique challenges and opportunity. He noted that despite abundant natural resources and a youthful population, Africa continues to face development setbacks due to fragmented policies, external dependency, and weak implementation of long-term strategies. According to him, defining African destiny requires bold leadership, economic transformation, and increased investment in education, innovation, and infrastructure. He also highlighted the importance of the African Continental Free Trade Area as a key platform for boosting intra-African trade and reducing over-reliance on external markets. The Chief of Staff further called for a greater empowerment of young people and women, describing them as critical drivers of continent's future growth and stability. As Africa continues its development journey, the message is clear. The continent's future must be shaped from within, driven by its own priorities, people, and vision for prosperity.
Across Africa, families continue to perform social and economic functions that in many parts of the world have long been transferred entirely to the state. At the same time, sovereignty remains the bedrock upon which nations build their future. It is the right of a people to determine their own priorities, shape their own institutions, and organize their own societies in ways that reflect their history, culture, and aspirations. For this reason, the work before you carries profound significance. Across our continent, parliaments remain amongst the most important guardians of democratic legitimacy. Government may propose policy, but it is through parliament that national aspirations are debated, refined, and transformed into enduring laws. The decisions taken by legislators often outlive administrations and shape the trajectory of nations for generations yet unborn. Your task, therefore, extends beyond the drafting of a charter. It is to build consensus around principles that can strengthen our societies whilst preserving the values that have sustained our communities through centuries of change.
Away from the gathering of African leaders, the former Deputy Speaker of Parliament has emphasized that the House cannot take decisions without the constitutionally required quorum, stressing that parliamentary procedures must strictly observe to safeguard Ghana's democracy. A former Deputy Speaker of Parliament has reiterated that parliamentary decisions made without the required quorum could be challenged, insisting that the rules governing legislative business must be respected at all times. According to the former lawmaker, quorum is a fundamental requirement that ensures decisions taken by Parliament reflect adequate representation of elected members. He noted that the Constitution and standing orders clearly spells out minimum number of members of Parliament needed before certain businesses can be conducted. His comment comes amidst ongoing public discussions over attendance in Parliament and concerns about whether key legislative decisions are being taken with sufficient participation from both the majority and minority sides. The former Deputy Speaker stressed that whilst Parliament must remain productive and efficient, adherence to procedural rules is essential to maintaining credibility and legitimacy of the legislative process. He further urged political parties and members of Parliament to prioritize attendance and active participation in parliamentary proceedings, particularly when critical national issues are under consideration. Legal and governance experts have also argued that compliance with quorum requirements is necessary to avoid dispute and ensure that laws and resolutions enjoy public confidence. As debate continues over parliamentary attendance and decision-making, the former Deputy Speaker's remarks have renewed attention on the importance of quorum in protecting the integrity of Ghana's legislative process. Now moving to the next story, Ghana is positioning itself for a major transformation in education through expanded digital learning initiatives aimed at improving access, enhancing teaching quality, and equipping students with skills for modern economy. Ghana is intensifying efforts to revolutionize education through technology as government and stakeholders push for a more digitally connected learning environment across the country. The vision includes expanding access to digital services, improving internet connectivity in schools, integrating technology into teaching and learning at all levels of education. Education Authority says digital learning has the potential to bridge educational gaps, provide students with access to global knowledge resources, and prepare young people for careers in an increasingly technology-driven world. The initiative also seeks to strengthen teachers' digital competences through training programs and modern teaching tools, enabling educators to deliver more interactive and engaging lessons. Stakeholders believe the digital transformation of education will be critical in improving learning outcomes, promoting innovation, and ensuring Ghana's workforce remain competitive in the global economy. However, experts caution that challenges such as inadequate infrastructure, unreliable internet access in some communities, and affordability of digital devices must be addressed to ensure equitable access for all students. Despite these hurdles, education leaders remain optimistic that sustained investment and collaboration will accelerate Ghana's journey towards a fully digital learning ecosystem. As technology continues to reshape education worldwide, Ghana's drive towards digital learning could mark a new chapter in the country's quest to build a skilled, innovative, and a future-ready generation. Now we move straight to the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, where they've intensified efforts to tackle flooding in the capital by launching a major campaign against choked drains amidst growing concerns over reoccurring floods during the rainy season. The Accra Metropolitan Assembly has declared a renewed crackdown on choked drains and indiscriminate waste disposal as part of efforts to address the persistent flooding affecting parts of the capital. City authorities says blocked drainage system remain one of the leading causes of flooding in Accra, with plastic waste, slate, and also unauthorized structures obstructing free flow of storm water. The initiative will involve large-scale distilling exercises, drain clearing operations, public education campaigns, stricter enforcement of sanitation regulations across the metropolis. Officials warn that individuals and businesses found dumping refuge into drains or building on waterways could face sanctions as authorities seek to protect lives, property, and public infrastructure. The moves comes after recent heavy rains left several communities inundated, disrupting transportation, damaging property, and exposing residents to health risk associated with stagnant water. The AMA is also calling on residents to play an active role in maintaining clean surroundings, stressing that the fight against flooding remains collective responsibility and sustained community participation. Urban planning experts have long argued that improving drainage infrastructure, enforcing building regulation, and strengthening waste management system are essential to achieving a lasting solution to the Accra's flood challenges. With the rainy season underway, the AMA says the battle against choked drains is a battle to save lives and protect the city, urging all residents to support efforts to keep Accra clean, safe, and flood resilient. From the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, we go to the Ghana National Fire Service says a poor accessibility to scenes of recent fire outbreak in Accra Central significantly hampered firefighting operation, making it difficult for emergency crew to contain the blaze quickly. The Ghana National Fire Service has attributed delays in combating recent Accra Central fire to challenges with access routes leading to the affected area. According to the fire officials, congested street, unauthorized structures, and limited access points made it difficult for fire tenders to reach the heat of the blaze in time, allowing the fire to spread rapidly through nearby shops and properties. The service explained that although firefighters responded promptly after receiving distress calls, navigating through crowded sections of the commercial district poses a major challenge to the emergency operation. GNFS officials have once again raised concerns about persistent obstruction in market areas, business districts, warning that blocked access routes can have devastating consequences during emergencies. The incident has reignited discussions about urban planning, market safety, and the need to maintain clear pathways for emergency response vehicles in densely populated commercial centers. Fire authorities are urging traders, property owners, and city managers to work together to ensure that designated access roads and emergency corridors remain free from obstruction at all time. The service also encouraged businesses to comply with fire safety regulations and invest in preventive measures, including fire extinguishers, emergency exits, regular safety inspection. As investigation into the Accra Central blaze continue, the Ghana National Fire Service maintains that improving access for emergency responders could prove critical in reducing damage and saving lives during firefights outbreaks. Before we move into the business stories, I want to say thanks. We'll cross over for a quick commercial break. When we return, we'll bring you stories from the business world with Nadede Gogo.
Introduce you to Farm Global Company Limited. At Farm Global, we offer you a variety of groceries and provisions to choose from: cosmetics, perfumes, bed sheets, undies, boxes, you can mention all. This is our perfume stand, and we have variety of perfumes you can choose from for yourself and your loved ones. We cover Latafa, fragrance notes, and quality perfumes that will last long on your body. On our cosmetic section, we have variety of lotions, creams, hair pomade that can keep you going. Let your feet do the talking and your hand do the showcasing. Your babies are not left out. We got you covered. At Farm Global, we make shopping a beautiful experience for you and your family. You can be at home, send your list, and get it delivered for free. Yes, for free. We know you can pay for it, but we want to show appreciation. We bring everything to you at your doorstep. Locate Farm Global on the Nungwabuade Road, just opposite Redeemer Chemist. Call us on 0592 0999 52 or 050-384-3633. Farm Global, fast, reliable, and convenient.
Welcome back from that break. In business, the Ghana cedi is expected to face renewed pressure in June 2026, with the US dollar trading at around 12.30 Ghana cedis at some forex bureaus. Analysts cite increased demand for foreign exchange, import financing needs, and seasonal market pressures as key factors behind depreciation.
After months of relative stability, the Ghana cedi is showing signs of renewed weakness against major foreign currencies, particularly the US dollar. Checks at selected forex bureaus indicate that the dollar is currently selling at approximately 12.30 Ghana cedis, raising concerns among businesses and consumers about the potential impact on prices of imported goods and services. Market observers say demand for foreign exchange has increased as imported SIG dollars to finance purchases abroad, while corporate demand and external payment obligations continue to exert pressure on the local currency. Economists, however, noted that the cedi's performance will also depend on Ghana's foreign reserve position, export hearings from gold and cocoa, remittance inflows, and ongoing fiscal management efforts by government and the Bank of Ghana. A weaker cedi could translate into higher transportation costs, increased prices of imported commodities, and renewed inflationary pressures if the trend persists over the coming weeks. Financial analysts are therefore urging policymakers to maintain prudent monetary and fiscal measures to help stabilize the foreign exchange market and protect recent gains in macroeconomic stability. For businesses and households alike, the direction of the cedi remains a key economic indicator, with many hoping for a return to stability as Ghana navigates the second half of 2026.
Moving from the economy, let's take a look at the agribusiness sector. Ghana has signed a landmark $1.5 billion AgriConnect Compact aimed at transforming the country's agricultural sector, boosting food production and creating estimated 2.6 billion jobs across the agricultural value chain.
Ghana has taken a major step towards agricultural transformation with the signing of the $1.5 billion AgriConnect Compact, a comprehensive initiative designed to modernize farming, improve food security, and stimulate economic growth. The agreement brings together government, development partners, financial institutions, and private sector stakeholders to invest in crucial areas including irrigation, mechanization, agribusiness development, storage facilities, and market access for farmers. Officials say the compact is expected to create approximately 2.6 billion jobs, particularly for young people and women, while strengthening agricultural productivity and enhancing value addition across key crops. The initiative also seeks to attract private investment into the sector, support smallholder farmers, and improve access to finance, technology, and modern farming practices. Speaking at the signing ceremony, government officials described the compact as a game-changing intervention that aligns with Ghana's broader economic transformation agenda and efforts to reduce unemployment.
Now, government put a team together, a team made up of representatives from almost all the ministries, to work on a document that can transform agriculture into agribusiness and create employment opportunities for the youth of our nation. I must say that this document is a document prepared by Government of Ghana with all the ministries represented. And it was done with the support of the World Bank, IFAD, AFDB, and other partners. We zeroed in on some specific crops where we have the enormous potential to develop the entire chains and then generate jobs for the youth. We considered rice, maize, oil palm, cocoa, and poultry. And today I'm happy to be here with my colleague, the Honorable Deputy Minister, to be part of the launch of this all-important program. From this table, all of us have specific roles to play. Those who make the resources available, those who monitor the resources, those who do the disbursement, those who do the actual implementation, all of us must ensure that we play our roles according to whatever is captured here. So that at the end of the day, the Ghanaian people will be the beneficiaries. It is our hope that resources required for the implementation of such program will be made available in time, and implementation will proceed effectively so that we can maximize the benefits and then realize all the objectives and the goals we have captured in this document. We thank all of you for your support. And on this note, on behalf of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, I declare Ghana's AgriConnect Compact duly launched.
That's the end of the business news. Let's go for a break. Up next is sports and entertainment with Wendy Lati. In the world of sports, Ghana's senior national team, the Black Stars, have arrived in the United States as they intensify preparations for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The team departed Cardiff following their latest international friendly and will now continue final training sessions as their tournament based in Providence, Rhode Island.
The Black Stars have officially landed in the United States ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, marking the beginning of the final phase of preparations for football's biggest tournament. The Ghana squad traveled from Cardiff after completing their recent international assignment and have now settled at their World Cup base in Providence, Rhode Island, where head coach Carlos Queiroz and his technical team will fine-tune tactics and build match readiness ahead of the tournament. The Black Stars are expected to play one final warm-up match against Jamaica on June 10 before opening their World Cup campaign. Ghana has been drawn in Group L alongside Panama, England and Croatia. This year's tournament, co-hosted by the United States, Canada and Mexico, will be Ghana's fifth appearance on the world stage as the Black Stars seek to make another memorable impact in global football. As anticipation builds among Ghanaian football fans, all eyes will be on the Black Stars as they complete their final preparations and chase World Cup glory in North America.
Away from the Black Stars' arrival to the United States for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, we move our attention to the entertainment news, where Nigerian Afrobeat superstar Davido has revealed plans to buy back the rights to his music catalogue from Sony Music before retiring, stressing that ownership remains the most important asset in the music business.
Award-winning singer Davido